Please tell me I have enough pressure that I can finally get in here. It looks like I can get in. Plonk. Really? Still? Huh. Alright, I'm just going to park my car here, leave it, because that's the next location for me to go to. We're going to teleport home, and let's figure out making that ridiculous pressure rocket. Slightly bigger team and more robust base Planet Crafter could expand in some fun and cool ways. Yeah, I'm kind of hoping they just save that for a sequel. But then again, I don't know. I guess the question is how much technical debt do they even have? If you've never heard the phrase technical debt, it's a frequent term to refer to programming choices and design choices that the developers made early on in development that let's see. Sorry, brain fart for a hot second. Design and programming choices that the developers had made kind of early on in development in such a way that, like, you can't change those things. They're load-bearing, but they're also causing, like, major issues, like either limiting how far you can kind of expand the game in certain ways, or easy example of this is, like, in World of Warcraft, there's trees just growing out of my base. Okay. In World of Warcraft, they literally cannot get rid of the original, like, 20-slot backpack, or at least they couldn't last time I heard, because doing so would break the entire questing system built into the game, and that's obviously a problem. Okay, let's just go grab a stack of iron, titanium, and cobalt. Because I might as well make some things in this base. I don't think I'm going to make it any taller than I already have. But I'd like to at least have it be fully built, just so I don't have to worry about things looking weird. There we go. Should be good. Yeah, so... Oh, messed this one up. There we go. So now I can actually potentially build stuff like the interior walls in some of these locations. Mostly because this would give me some extra construction spots. And not get in my way. Because this way now I have this kind of whole area. Mostly as kind of a nice viewing platform, but I can put some structures and some storage for less desirable resources out here. Yeah, Final Fantasy XIV has a lot of technical debt. Yeah. I need more iron. That's fine. I've had to slowly work over for the last decade. Due to relaunching the game, their original disastrous 1.0 release, and limitations in design choices to support PS3 and PS4 and Vita. I actually didn't realize that Final Fantasy XIV was originally a Vita release as well. That one surprises me. Not hugely, but it's still one of those where it's, like, kind of amusing. It sort of wasn't? Huh. Oh, Vita streamed from console. Got it. Okay, so that's better. Inventory-wise. God, this music is, like, eerie in the best way. Let's go grab a whole mess of super alloy. And circuits. Because we want to expand my storage. Uh-oh. This is also rotated incorrectly. What? Oh. Oh, no. Oh, those resources are somewhere now. Well. That's what I get for deconstructing something with a full inventory. Oh, what's going on here? Something like that. There we go. Okay, so now we can have seed storage for a bunch of stuff. We'll just have this one be Lerma. It does bug me a little bit that they have so many plant seeds that you literally just do not need in this game. Oops. Okay, got those. We're just going to do a second round of this just in case. We find a lot more. But yeah, they have all these, like, cool flowers that, for the most part, don't do anything for you. Let's see. Okay, there's our bark. Do I care about tree seeds? You know what? Just in case we find one of the really good ones and then throw it on the ground. Because the red woe seeds are actually quite good. Yeah, I just want to get these out of my dump chest so they're not in my way anymore. Alright. Then I want 1, 2, 3. Because whatever wherever the resources were that dropped from me recycling. Oh, are they outside or are they causing a collision issue? Oh yeah, they are right there. Well, it's fine. Perfect. Only other thing I'd potentially do is build, like, a door there. I don't know. Okay, so what else is clogging this up? We do need iridium storage. And I'm going to need fertilizer storage. Let's just do fert. Because I don't think I'm going to have that much fertilizer stored. This is not a base that cares deeply for storing fertilizer. Same thing with mutagen here. There we go. That gives me some space. Iridium. I don't think I have much for uranium either. But good to store it. I do have osmium storage. So what's another resource that we have in large supply? I'm not sure. Let's go downstairs and check. We've actually cleared this out pretty hard, which is exactly what I was hoping for. So it would be like fabric or bioplastic. Probably bioplastic. There we go. Let's see. Last time I was here was before I started my university degree. Oh boy, I am now dust. I did take a long hiatus from this, so it kind of makes sense. Okay. Fabric? Fabric. Let's just do both types of fabric. Alright, so let's take a look at this planet. Things are going reasonably well. I am thirsty. We should probably get a drink. Let's take a look. There's a... Not solar system. No, maybe it is solar system. Okay. It turned to dust when people talk about playing Minecraft when they were a kid. Came into alpha when I was in university. Same here. Let's see. Silicon. Where did I put all my regular quartz? Other quartz. Here we go. Yeah. Minecraft was the game that destroyed a couple of my classmates kind of permanently. And so I've always, like, kind of kept it at a healthy arm's length. Okay, good. So Humble is completely terraformed. Perfect. I know we could just leave that running. Okay, so Selenea is actually pretty close. It just needs breathable oxygen and natural life. Like, we might be able to just completely speedrun this entire planet in one go. Which is convenient. Having each of these moons be effectively one stream's worth of work is nice. Here, let's just get some more dump chests. And then I should probably build a shredder too, because we are going to maybe need it. I think I'm only going to need it for iron. Well, yeah, I'm going to ignore it. Dump these off. Dump all of this stuff off. Okay. So, next order of business is ow. Let's actually save ourselves a lot of trouble. Selected prime. We want to grab butterflies, bees. Actually, we don't need the common larvas because we can generate those. No, let's see. Where's the uncommon larva? Yeah, I'm just going to request that because at some point I'm going to have to mess around with getting life here. And that's going to be infinitely easier if I already have, like, all the components on hand. As opposed to having to wait 10 minutes. Thinking ahead is good. Okay, this is pretty much Dunsky. So we can move this... Well, move it indoors? I don't know, just dump the resources off. So I guess next order of business, let's go over here. Damn, these redwood, of course. So, yeah, we can't do the insect spreaders because we don't have... we do have phosphorus, we just don't have much of it. And I guess I'm going to have to make a bunch of heat rockets. So let's see how many fuses I'm sitting on. Let's see, they're probably upstairs somewhere. Next is selenium. Hey, we've got a bunch. Because all I need is just 3 empty fuses, I think. Oh no, those are pressure multiplier. Oh. Well, can I actually make them? That's a question. Because I might as well get some auto-crafters here. I'll just probably build 2 of them right on the ends cap. 1 of them at least. Okay. So, no. I can make energy multipliers, trade rocket, growth multiplier, insect multiplier, purification multiplier, but I cannot make heat or pressure, which is annoying because that means that I have to buy them. Well, what do I need for a trade rocket? Okay, so I got that stuff. So I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'll probably just do 10 of them. And then however much cobalt I can... I don't have much cobalt, do I? Okay. Let's get a cobalt mine down. They're cheap enough. I have plenty of resources. Okay. It's another ore extractor. Like this is still enough to make 2 of them. That's still a huge multiplier to what I currently have. I completely forgot another rocket engine. Oops. I think that's the first time I've just launched a rocket normally. I feel like I've committed some kind of sin here. Get out of my base. In any other world, that would have killed me instantly. Okay, so we want to trade space rocket. Okay, so first and foremost, how much money am I sitting on? An amount. I think I'm going to get the heat and pressure multipliers. I might not go for any of the other ones. I guess I can get 1 oxygen multiplier. And that is something to potentially do, is go try and make a bunch of money between sessions. Or not between sessions, between planets. Pain in the butt, though. Okay, do we have enough pressure at this point? No. Yeah, we need to increase my pressure by 5 times to get it. Well, I guess let's just send off some regular pressure rockets. Yeah, I forgot. This just gets me a bunch of uranium. Which, like, I really don't need much uranium, do I? Do 5? I don't know. Should probably go mulch some more super alloy rods. There we go. And then I need like 15 silicon. That should be good enough. That's filling up, but it's not full. I guess I should probably actually just pull everything out of here and dump it into one of the many storage chests. I'm so glad my base cannot be destroyed by random meteor showers. That would suck. For whatever reason, I thought these were like only a 500% multiplier. I'm glad to see that I'm wrong. Oh, look at them go. They've decided to leave us a pack. Never mind. It's infinitely satisfying. Okay, so that should speed up our pressure dramatically. Still waiting on that trade rocket. That's going to take a while. Yeehaw! Ride. No, come back. I wish to ride you to space ground. Ground space. You are one finicky ass rocket. Oh, yes, yes, no! That's a durable ass tree. Alright. So, we still got a while before anything from that one. Okay. Now what? Oxygen's looking good. We're slowly losing our drain, so we don't need to worry about that. pressure doing? Well, it's going up faster. Still slow. We went into this big water section, didn't find much of anything. So I think maybe what I check is this area real quick. There might have also been some ice around here. Unfortunately, I don't remember that well. Okay. Yeah, because there shouldn't be much left to loot. Lot of uranium. Lot of iridium. I am unconvinced I need either. Okay. So we have this. Uh-oh. Okay, we're good. Whenever the game hang times like that, I get a little scared. Did I really break my leg? I did. I always get a little scared. Considering this game's, well, has blue screened my computer twice? Just twice. That's still something I'd prefer to avoid. I'm actually really surprised at how kind of ho-hum this planet is. Like, I love the structures. I think they're extremely cool. And I think it actually was quite beautiful, especially when we had those, like, that purple fog? Whatever you want to call it. That had descended on the world temporarily. But, like, exploration has pretty much just been go check out the big structures, don't look at anything else. Which feels a little odd, just because it feels like I'm missing something critical here, and I'm not finding whatever that is. Oh. We never opened this up. Never mind, there's nothing in there. I don't think. It looks like there should be. But I didn't see any kind of power generation going on. Okay, so that didn't work. So we've been down that. Oh. There's that little area just to the left. Let's look at some more oxygen. Keep an eye on that pressure meter. Well, it's doubled in since the last time I checked, so that's a good sign. Okay, so it was here, but to the right. Kind of in that little gully. I don't think there's much to find in there, but you never know. Because, yeah, it looked like they could have had cool caves or something. Nope, just more selenium. Which I'm also kind of confused about, because it seems like selenium is used for, like, 2 recipes. 3, maybe. But, hey, I mean, the simpler this DLC is, the faster we can get it done, the faster we can move on to the next world. And I've heard a bunch of people say really good things about it, so why not, right? Now, do I want to go scoop up a bunch of the iridium? We kind of need it. Not amazingly much. We just kind of do. On the topic of turning to dust, I did a video on Mega Man Legends recently and had a very good time playing the game. But unfortunately, YouTube didn't more or less killed the video out back, which is a bit of a shame. But I was realizing as I was playing it that some of the people who probably were going to watch that video were adults, and the game was like 10 years older than them. Something about that always just like weirds me out. I totally understand that's just how humans work and lifespans work and everything like that, but it's just like a game that was like somewhat impactful during my childhood is like unheard of for somebody else's It's weird. Ooh. That was fun watching that swing by. Though I hope I don't get hit by those because that would probably cost me. I think I've kind of grown used to the weird infinite now that indie games have... Indie games, honestly, Steam more than anything else. Steam and modern platforms have created where, you know, as long as a game exists on one of those consoles and systems, it is perpetually available, but anything that is older or, like, more obscure than them, that hasn't gotten re-released in any capacity, is functionally non-existent. And so we have this kind of weird split history. Maybe not split history exactly, but a dichotomy before the before Steam and digital distribution became normal, where there's a handful of games that still exist from the before times, but like a lot of them are effectively vaporware. But then anything after that largely is stuck around, except for like the handful of weird MMOs. I saw some people talking about potentially trying to, oh, perfect. We can now go check out that other base. Saw people talking about potentially trying to preserve Anthem. Yes, we're in. Okay, it keeps going. But trying to like preserve Anthem with custom servers and whatnot. Oh, we're in, and there's a lot of stuff in here. And honestly, I'm all for it. I think it's interesting, but there's like... With EA's current trajectory, I think they're fine. I know Battlefield 6 is like a huge hit, and so it's not that EA itself as a company is doomed by any measure. But... Let's see. I'll just slap one of these down for the time being. Oh, wait, no. We want to keep those cells with me. Supply those. Current EA is probably fine, even with the buyout from, you know, Saudi Arabia. I'm sure as a company they will persist. I'm gonna have to drive my car up in here. I think I am. Wait, okay, here we go. But there's like a very real possibility, like 10 years from now, the company will just inevitably go under due to poor management or Saudi Arabia just realizing that, hey, maybe the video game industry isn't actually like a particularly good source of money or even culture. Yeah. But like there's a very there's a very real possibility that like EA or Ubisoft are going to die in such a way that like these companies that were like pivotally important are literally just unheard of. Uh-oh. This thing has collision issues. Okay. I think that weirds me out the most. Let's put this away. We should have supply everything. Cool. We'll come and grab a handful of these resources. Ooh. And those are heat and production multipliers. We needed those. It's not that Saudi Arabia thinks video games are good for money. I think Saudi princes grew up playing games and wanted to own some companies. Well, there's that. I think it's also an element of like whitewashing culture. Saudi Arabia has kind of a mixed reputation, depending on where you live. I mean, namely due to the fact that the Saudi princes absolutely did just like unabashedly murder somebody a couple of years ago, and probably have been murdering a lot more people, and getting away with it because who's going to call them out on it? And I think for them, video games are a really good way of whitewashing a reputation that's kind of soured, because, like, as long as you're halfway good to whatever, like, source product you're hawking, people will absolutely just, like, fall in love with you, whoever you are. Yeah, Mix is putting it lightly. Yeah. So what is that? Oxygen multiplier fuse. That's helpful. And I also find that there's a cohort of gamers that I think are a little bit less discerning when it comes to, like, ethical considerations. Especially if it's ethical considerations pointed towards, like, women, for example. A lot of gamers just hate women. It's weird and wrong and frustrating. And so, if you wanted a target audience to whitewash your reputation with, I would say, like, the kind of more FPS competitive bro gamers probably are some of the better people to focus on marketing to. I knew a couple of people that were actively, like, seriously considering moving to Saudi Arabia a couple of years ago. And that was, I don't want to say, like, bewildering to me, but it was like, it just felt like it came out of nowhere. It still does. But, you know, one of them was trying to convince me that, yes, it was gamer and tech bro Mecca, and everyone should go there. And I'm like, I don't know about that one. A lot of gamers don't actually think for themselves and just outsource their views and opinions to content creators. Yup. Oh, yeah. It's... I mean, I don't think this is even a gamer's thing. I think this is a literally, like, as we've seen at least in the US in the last couple of years, a third of the people in the US want to fully outsource their thinking to someone else. A third of the people don't want to think about anything at all, and then a third of the people actually are thinking about things and trying to fix stuff. And the problem is trying to get the other 2/3 to not destroy everything in the meantime is legitimately like a full-time task and problematic. And these things come in waves. I'm sure the percentages do shift here and there over time. I think it's kind of that phrase of, like, hard times make good people, good times make for soft people, or something like that. It's like a cyclical thing that I see people throw around, and it's not exactly the most accurate. Let's see. Grab a number of things that aren't earmarked by the drones, because they're already on their way, so I might as well snag the rest. Let's see. Yep. I didn't set this to supply at all, which means I can just grab whatever I want from it, and they'll just take the rest, because I might as well go back over here. This is Big Bossa, not House on the Hill. Oops. There we go. Drop everything off except for the fusion cells. We might actually need those. But every once in a while, this is a familial thing. Every once in a while I talk to my extended family and they always say something like extremely off-putting and weird. And then, like, a couple days later I see like a headline go by and I'm like, oh, that's where you got that from. That always feels kind of sad. I like anybody does this. You see an interesting factoid and you kind of want to share it. But at least when I run into, oh, my poor car. Okay, we might need to rethink leaving my car there. Normal vehicular behavior. Exactly. Yeah, like, I want to use the car as, like, a potential secondary dumping chest and a couple other things, but boy, it ain't built for that. Did I set that? Yeah. We might actually just be filling up on a bunch of stuff. Trade rocket should be here. Snag that and go make a couple of the multiplier fuses, because those are going to be extremely helpful. I might want to keep 2 of these pressure multiplier fuses. Send 1 rocket off. No, I think we should go for the booster first. Okay, we have one heat multiplier fuse. Where'd they... We definitely had another... I don't know, actually. Maybe they're still back at that other base? That's a production fuse. Oh, now they're moving some things. You know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna put these away for now. We'll deal with them later. Because I want to just loot the rest of everything. Yeah, so what happens is this base isn't fully loaded in, including the ground, and so when I warp in, it freaks out because it has no idea where things are. Okay, yeah, we've already looted this one. It also does not help that there's a lot of, so there's like a really clear through line for, game's starting to really hitch when it saves. There's a really solid through line for failed streamers. Maybe not failed streamers is exactly the correct term. But streamers who got big with a game, sometime in the past. And, there's the, oh, that's the production multiplier fuse. I don't know. Got big with a game sometime in the past, and rather than being able to kind of hold on to whatever that game is as like their primary bread and butter to keep their channel going, you know, that slowly dips down over time to the point where they can't sustain themselves on it anymore, or their growth slows down. I mean, it makes sense. You know, for me, Scrap Mechanic was getting tons and tons of views, but when, you know, that finally slowed down, I had to move on to another game. That's just how it works. Some of these people, rather than finding a pivot, they just pivot straight into commentary, like political commentary or controversy commentary and stuff like that, and can just kind of leverage their extremely passionate fan base that they built, and, you know, try and... Ooh, what is this one? Requires 1,000 heat. Nope, we're good. Ooh, big base. Alright, let's go back and grab that teleporter, because I think I'm going to need it. Because otherwise this is going to take a long time. I'll just take the rest back with me. I guess I'll leave that one there. This way I can build a dump chest immediately. But yeah, so they pivot to political commentary or hate peddling or any number of things, and like you can actually leverage quite a lot of views off of that, especially if you're not particularly skilled at like whatever other... Oh nope, we don't want to do that yet. We want to get the teleporter down, especially if you're not good at like whatever the new like hotness game is. And so you see a lot of really mediocre streamers that, you know, might have been really good at Fortnite or World of Warcraft, or what are some other like really big popular games that have been not doing too hot on like Twitch and YouTube for a while now. And probably Apex Legend. Well, I mean, if we want to do Call of Duty, I'm sure Call of Duty comes back in waves, but I don't think it's been doing well for a while. I guess I should read these. Archives, Pioneer Charter. Like others before us, we wanted to try something else. Another way to play the game of existence. The rules for the game that were proposed to us no longer suited us, for ourselves and our children. We wanted to review these rules, to free ourselves from them and reinvent new ones. To see where our ideas could lead us, by stopping complaining and taking back control of our destinies through our own actions. Where will that lead us? There's only one way to find out. Try. First year. Seems like a year has already passed since we arrived. Our long period of preparation has paid off, and our organizational systems have proven their effectiveness. This has allowed us to begin our installation under good conditions. We hadn't planned everything, but overall, everything is going well. To celebrate, we organized a big party in the first dome, which is a real treat for everyone. But the work is sometimes exhausting given the size of the task, but our motivation remains strong. Archives, Blazar Quartz discovery. After thorough analysis of geological layer, Koa shared an geological layer. Koa shared an interesting discovery with us. Beneath our feet lies high-quality quartz. Could be very useful to us in the future. We decided to form a study group to identify our options in this regard. stuck in the ground. Okay, archives. Vote on Blazar Quartz mining. 37 in favor, 8 abstentions. The discussions were long, but we reached a consensus. The decision was made to launch a major Blazar Quartz mining project alongside our subsistence activities. And we get another one of these keys. Anything else in here? It doesn't look like it. But the problem with getting into, like, political commentary, or just kind of any kind of commentary, is if you're not actually particularly educated in whatever the topic is, almost inevitably you just end up kind of parroting, oh god, parroting or, like, sharing things around. What's a good example of this? You know what? The easy one would be not even political commentary. There are a lot of YouTubers over the years that I see, like, they get into some kind of gaming controversy, and they might do, like, coverage of, you know, whatever the flavor controversy of the week may be. Cannot get in there for some reason. Okay. I guess there are locked doors for people's bedrooms. Maybe there's some way of getting in. Don't know. Or they're all bathrooms. It seems like most of this is just like... most of this is just housing and nothing more. Oh yeah, these rooms are totally empty. So, even if I could get in there, there's no reason for me to do so. Oh, that's a huge spot, actually. Oh, let's go back, drop things off. This is my oxygen... gain is slowly, or my oxygen is, it's not draining nearly as fast. There we go. I don't know. It's getting late. I was just hoping to finish this planet. Mostly finish this planet before I left. Because yeah, starting next week, I think we're going back to proper Wholesome vs. Sunday crew, which means that I'm not going to be able to stream this as much anymore. Which is fine. Let's see. Let's grab the oxygen fuses. So, I guess I can put the heat in. Do I really only have... Yeah, I guess I only had a couple pressure fuses. Or no. Yeah. Dang. Well... These are only at 500%. The rocket is a 5,000, so yeah, sending these up as rockets is probably better. Okay, so I want to build one of these. So I'm going to need 3 obsidian. Where the hell did I put my obsidian? There it is. Okay, and then explosive powder. So, what I was going to say for the whole, like, getting into political commentary, or just commentary in general, like, once you become kind of one of these React channels, and you're starting to react to, whatever the controversy of the day is, there kind of becomes a persistent need to cycle those. If you're a YouTuber and you want to keep your job, you have to constantly keep adding something to the channel, whatever your thing is. And so, for me, it's like indie impressions videos. Ideally, roguelikes and whatnot, but it can be a little bit variable. But if you start pushing away from, like, whatever that thing is that, you know, your audience is looking for, YouTube will kind of clue into that and then kill your channel. And so you're kind of forced to keep cycling whatever this thing is that people want from you. So if you're a cooking channel, you make cooking shows. And say you're a cooking channel and you, like, decide to do, like, a one-off goof cooking thing where you do, like, a challenge episode where you don't know what the recipe is, you just know what the ingredients are, and you're supposed to make, you know, the best possible dish using those ingredients. You know, as part of that, there's a very real possibility people, you know, see that and be like, whoa, that was actually really fun. I want to see more of that. And so all of a sudden, this whole mystery cooking show that you did as a one-off joke is now your channel's identity because people latched onto that in a very big way. There's nothing specifically wrong with that, but the problem is if you can't keep up with whatever this gimmick that you've created for yourself, if that's out of your reach, you know, sometimes you can just leave it as a one-off, take the views, and go home happy and just go back to whatever you were doing, which I've definitely done on multiple occasions. But for some of these people who are either on the downturn or just don't care, they'll do something, you know, lean into commentary, weigh in on a controversy, possibly a controversy that they actually are experienced in, or knowledgeable about in some way, shape, or form. And kind of inevitably what happens is these people will ride whatever this controversy, and the viewership that comes from it, but in the aftermath of it, each of these is an individual, each of these fuses is its own rocket. So I can actually send 3 of these off. Oh shit, that's awesome. But so a lot of these creators will ride the whatever the controversy is, as long as they can, milking as many views as they possibly can get out of it. And then rather than stopping once that controversy is done, they're kind of already hooked into the idea that, like, no, controversies pay the bills. I now need to chase controversies and weigh in on everything. Because if I weigh in on everything, you know, whatever this audience that I've built will stick around, and I'll just keep chasing controversies. And even if some of those people lose interest, most of those people will stick around for forever, or progressively more and more. Okay, so that should crank up my pressure generation like crazy. Actually, the heat generation's looking pretty good too. Probably because there's a multiplicative effect that the rockets multiply the fuses, which multiply the original generation. One way or another, that's going well. Yeah, being a controversy / react channel seems exhausting mentally and emotionally, which is why you usually end up with a lot of people that actually don't give a shit at all. People that are so fully, wait, what? Oh, I see. Pressure 5,000, pressure 15,000, and then 2,000. Yeah, wow. The fact that those are actually, like, lockstep with each other is really impressive. I would have expected them to split up, but it really is just having those fuses must make a difference. Oh well. But yeah, so you end up with a lot of these people that are chasing views entirely for the idea of purely to either keep their channel running or because they have no real sense of, like, consistency, or even like ethics or morals, and they'll just keep chasing one controversy after the next one. And usually, I don't want to like fully generalize, but almost every one of these YouTubers that I've interacted with kind of ends up with this like weird, I mean, I call it being an entertainment mercenary, but it's like that to the nth degree, where whatever the controversy is doesn't matter anymore. It's just kind of chasing the views, and so it kind of becomes a role play in a way for a lot of these folks, to the point where they don't even believe the words they're saying. They're just saying it because they know it's going to get them views or clicks or whatever. And some of them are true believers. Like, I shouldn't fully discount that. It's just often you find out after the fact that, like, behind closed doors, away from their audience, or, you know, away from the true believers that might actually get mad at them for this, they don't really give a shit. And it's weird, but I also understand it. It's one of those where YouTube as a platform very much loves to push these things. Controversies sell mega views. And so YouTube is kind of encouraging people to always chase whatever the controversial thing was. Had this specific conversation with hey, there it is. Finally dumped the fusion cells at this point. What was it? It wasn't Sniper Wolf. Whatever the YouTuber was that was like actively stalking Jack Films. Maybe that was Sniper Wolf. I forget. But when that was going on, I remember having a conversation with my manager being like, you know, at some point this is going to bite YouTube in the ass, and like, you have you've had many opportunities at some point to kind of nip this in the bud and stop chasing controversies, you know, be algorithmically supported, you know, kind of whenever these things pop off, you just tweak it so that they die. And instead they more or less said like, yeah, but the, you know, we don't want to be, we don't want to put our finger on the scale in any way, even though they absolutely are just like boosting off of this stuff. And so more or less the answer I got was just like super non-committal of like, hey, we don't give a shit. We're just going to keep doing this regardless because, you know, the money is good and the engagement is great. And so what this has done is it's kind of created this really toxic feedback loop, where there's like an actual very profitable through line for people with loose morals and zero ethics, or even sense of consistency, for them to chase being controversy jockeys for as long as possible and make big bucks for YouTube and off of YouTube. And thus far it hasn't like blown up in YouTube's face, but it feels like at some point one of these YouTubers is going to defame somebody in a really bad way, and YouTube is going to do nothing about it and then get sued themselves for doing nothing about it. I'm kind of looking forward to that happening just because we really do need some more safeguards to prevent people from effectively using the infinite television channel to say nasty things about people completely baselessly. Or specifically as a like, hey, we're going to convince people to, ooh, what is this? I don't know, it's a whole tube system. Convince people to harass this person. Because that's frequently how it turns out. And that feels extremely dangerous. Honestly, like, weird as it is, I'm kind of surprised more people haven't actually gotten, like, seriously harmed due to that kind of behavior in a way that could track back to, like, a specific YouTuber. Okay, well, I was hoping to finish this planet off in one go, but I think we're going to make it about half an hour into the next stream, or a couple of videos where I'm actually chipping away at that one. Because that big base is huge. It's way bigger than I thought it was going to be. But we're making some serious progress on everything, I guess, except for biomass on this planet. The multipliers are going quite well. And if we want to go purely based on, like, terraforming level, yeah, apart from getting natural life growing on this planet, I really could actually just leave this and it would probably reach planet completion. Complete terraformation without too much effort. Which is nice. Look at it go. Look at these big trees. Redwoods are pretty. I wish they were easier to grow in the US, but is what it is. Anyway, let's see. I feel like YouTube makes so much money off of this that a suit wouldn't change much, no? It doesn't. So the point of the suit is that if YouTube gets sued for malfeasance, an easy example of this is when YouTube got sued in the past repeatedly for copyright infringement. Sure, YouTube makes so much money that they're technically able to weather the financial consequences of, you know, the copyright infringement on YouTube. However, what YouTube does not want is regulations, and so, you know, just the financial impact of the lawsuit functionally won't register with them. But if it gets big enough, that, say, a government says, hey, you can't do this anymore, and they actually start, like, cracking down on YouTube or even ban YouTube outright, that's what YouTube wants to avoid. Now, obviously, actual rules and regulations kind of are not going to happen for a while. You know, the current administration seems very pleased to let things just be as they are. But I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see some major tectonic shifts in the next couple of years where it's like Canada finally gets sick of letting the lack of, like, American regulations. Oh, it's not this one, it's the other one over there. It gets sick of the lack of American regulations and decides to start regulating YouTube themselves, or, like, banning them or something. And also, one lawsuit almost always results in multiple. So say if somebody specifically successfully sues somebody like a YouTuber who defamed them, and you know, creates that precedent, and creates the precedent where it's like, hey, YouTube was actually responsible for this. Somebody else who may not have quite as much standing or money can point to that specific case and be like, hey, this person had the same experience as me. YouTube didn't do anything in my case either. And ultimately what YouTube would do in that circumstance is just settle out of court. And get away with it largely scot-free. I don't need that. But precedent is spooky for a big corporation, especially one that is very much skirting, I don't want to say the rules, getting sneaky around the human social contract, I guess, if that makes sense. Because after a certain point, yeah, you burn your entire potential political and social goodwill. An easy example of this, I would say, though less on a social media side of things, is Adobe. I don't know how many of you have kind of seen, but apparently Adobe's stock price has dropped in the last, like, 2 years by, like, in half. Or Adobe's stock price has halved in the last 2 years, literally down by 50%. And it hasn't been going back up. Obviously, that has nothing to do with, like, social media or even, well, I mean, it had something to do with their actions. They decided to jam an AI generator into like Photoshop, which, let me tell you, most artists absolutely hate AI, and see that as like a grave sin. And so them jamming that in instantly made Adobe kind of persona non grata as far as like major corporations supplying technology to artists. And so a lot of artists immediately dropped them and started switching to one of the many, many alternatives. So, you know, I switched to Procreate and the Affinity Suite. And a lot of other people have like switched to Krita or Clip Studio Paint or a bunch of other things. And so while that wasn't a result of a lawsuit, it's kind of created this doom spiral where the reputation is so shot that there's no way to recover. GameStop's probably another example of this, that they had the stupid GME thing, which boosted them for a little while. Huh. And actually, oh, there's actually like a room in there somehow. Oh, and I can get back down to it. Okay, that makes sense. But like the GME thing boosted GameStop for a little bit, but they've been doing nothing but shooting themselves in the foot repeatedly. Oh, it's a Sharky. I guess this is like a little children's room. Val, could you ask if it's possible to have a little more heating, exceptionally for the next few months? Now, everyone needs to be careful, but I'm a little worried about the baby. So I'm shaking a little the other day, and despite all the blankets, I'm afraid I'll leave him with after effects. Thank you. I love you. Oh, and there's the last key. Perfect. But that, a lot of these companies have been skirting for ages on extremely friendly financial markets and like kind of stock manipulation to do well, but as soon as their like public reputation is gone, they're kind of hosed. I did set this to I never set this to supply. I got it. I don't think YouTube would ever go down. A lot of Adobe's... Okay, I'll get to that in a second. I don't think YouTube will ever, like, fully go down in the same way as, you know, as, like, GameStop or Adobe, for example. But we're getting to the point where, like, a YouTube competitor could come out that's actually much more, like, creator-friendly. And you probably see a lot of creators starting to make the switch. Or at least setting up shop elsewhere. The main... kind of like the Twitter to... Blue Sky switch that's going on right now. Yeah, and this is especially true of kind of like the whole YouTube is mostly allowing AI generated content on it. They've done some things to kind of limit, like deep faking, for example. But I think 20% of YouTube's like viewership now just watches slop. Oh, there's the heat rocket. Okay, so that is something that I could make. Wow. Yeah, so coming out here was great. Yeah, public goodwill can do a lot if you don't burn it. Okay, so we have access to whatever this is. This is too big. We are going to come back to this. Because I should be ending. I'm starving, and my voice is starting to go. So we'll leave it here. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see like a number of social media companies starting to pop up sometime in the next X number of years that are actively saying like, hey, we don't allow this stuff as a marketing shtick. You can already kind of see it with like Warhammer specifically saying, hey, we're not going to allow AI. And oh, what was the other one? There was another like semi-high profile, like, no, we're never going to use this stuff either recently. I know some car companies have been starting to do that. That is like, oh, it's all human made. I thought a lot of Adobe's issues were around the forced cloud accounts, increased service costs. So it is a mixture of a lot of things. So yes, this is all inshitification. Adobe specifically squeezing their audience for all that it's possibly worth. But like, artists are, I don't want to say kind of a very punished group of people, and we definitely do punish ourselves too. But like, artists are known for being also kind of poor, and yet we are all dutifully paying $50 a month or more for access to Adobe products because they weren't perfect, but compared to everything else, they were rock solid. And so yeah, starting to slowly strip away some of the features or put them behind additional paywalls, those were annoying. Those would not have stopped people from using it. Raising the prices definitely hurts. Pushing more stuff for the cloud definitely hurts, but like there were workarounds. Those things just made people annoyed. But jamming AI stuff in, ruining Adobe stock, and then yeah, just trashing their own public reputation. It's one of those where like there is a very real knock-on effect of if something becomes unpopular, people will move away from it. So, I mean, I'm trying to think of a good example. Easy and silly example of this would be like Crocs. That people still wear Crocs, but it became kind of seen as gauche to do so, and as a result, a number of people have kind of stopped wearing them as a result of that visible lack of trendiness. It's more powerful when you know that you're going to get shunned for using the thing. So you can kind of see this. Yeah, I love people that wear Crocs. I'm wildly ambivalent. Crocs make my feet chafe. But you can actually see this with developers that are using AI-generated like assets in their games. If you ever look at those AI disclaimers, some of them are just like, yeah, we just used it for this. A lot of them are saying like, oh, well, we used it because, well, we couldn't afford an artist, and if this does well, then we'll buy like real art assets to fill our game out, or I should be allowed to do this because, you know, here's my giant sob story or something like that. It's kind of or one of the other ones I saw recently, I think it was like a Legacy of Kain successor-y thing. But the developer had this like semi-lengthy explanation saying like, well, we used it for all this like pre-visualization and prep work stuff, but rest assured that none of it's in the like full final output for the game. You know, there's no AI left in it. Trying to kind of get around the fact that, hey, this thing is unpopular and a lot of people don't like it. And so like shunning and bullying actually does work. People do not like to be shunned. People do not like to be even passively bullied. And so you can see with a lot of folks, especially with something that is unpopular, yeah, that is not popular or that isn't ethical, they will often try and either justify it in advance or try and actually like argue in the court of public opinion to make whatever this unpopular thing is, like whatever it is, they try and make it socially acceptable. As some way of kind of defending themselves in advance so that they don't have to worry about other people shunning them for it. And so, to go back to the Adobe thing, I think there's a lot of reasons why Adobe is not doing well, but they've been shitty for years. You know, even back before they added the subscription models in, Adobe was expensive as hell. You know, it was like $700 for whatever the latest creative suite is. That's a lot of money to somebody that's, you know, often only making $30,000 a year. And to put out, you know, one of those versions, you know, every X couple of years, like, you know, that was a lot of money that you could squeeze out of artists. And then they switched to the subscription model, and everybody hopped on the subscription model, even though they hated it. But the moment Adobe became not Premiere anymore, and instead became this thing that everybody kind of hates, beyond just like, you know, hating it for hating its sake, hating it for legitimate reasons, specifically ethical reasons. That's usually what I would say is a major reason why people would drop it entirely and kill their stocks. Yeah, bullying does work. I mean, it sucks to say, like, people should not be bullying, but on the flip side, when I was in high school, I was bullied. I mean, I'm assuming most people had some experience with bullying at some point, but there was this one kid who had been bullying me ever since 7th grade. I just moved into the school system, had barely interacted with anybody. And within my first day of school, I was invited into a AIM chat room, which, God, if AIM precedes you, then think of a private Discord room. And I was invited into this private chat room with these guys, and they just started saying weird, mean things about other people and about me to me. I had not seen any of these people for more than half an hour. They just wanted to be mean for the sake of being mean. Anyway, so this kind of went on for a little while. Largely, I didn't have to worry about it because the specific instigator was dumb as bricks. And so he was never in any of my classes. You know, I was largely in the AP track. And so I could just avoid him. But every once in a while, I'd run into a class where he was in it. And he would try and bully me. And kind of succeeded. Until I drop kicked him. And he stopped. And so it's like, bullying works. You know, I was very much upset about that. But counter-bullying also works. Like, sometimes collective bullying is necessary to keep certain parts of society in check. And so, yeah, after drop kicking the guy, he left me the heck alone. And that felt really good. And I know this is like a completely different story, but like, bullying works one way or another. It just depends on what the bullying is. Oh, hey, there's a base up here I missed. There was like another guy that I did bully, specifically because he had been harassing one of my friends. And so I just started picking on him in the same way that he would pick on my friend. And boy, he dropped that really fast. And then when I saw him like a couple years later, he was like very sheepish about it. I was just like, man, if you didn't want me to bully you, you should have been better to the other people around you. And I mean, he did actually get the message from that, and good for him. But it was weird and frustrating up until that point. Because he wasn't even like a particularly, how would I say it? You know how you have your kind of classic Biff bully, the like really big guy that absolutely can bully whoever he wants because who's going to stand up to somebody that big? This was a shrimp, but he was bullying a smaller shrimp, and it was just like, this is stupid. Eventually somebody else is going to pick you as a target. I think that was actually kind of a plot point in the most recent Fallout TV show that I liked. Like, I didn't like the Fallout TV show that much, but it was kind of interesting that one of the antagonistic characters was, like, one of the main characters, not friends, but he'd grown up alongside the guy, but the guy himself wasn't anyone special. And had been the bullied person, but when the new guy had joined the main character, he joined the Steel Brotherhood. The bullied guy singled out the new guy as a target, and more or less took all the heat off of himself onto the new person. I thought that was a really interesting and poignant point. That kind of explained some of these people's behavior to me, because it never made sense. You know, if you're a bullied person, you're supposed to have solidarity, but some people are just weasels. Anyway, dropkick the AI. Yeah, no, seriously. At this point, I've started being extremely rude to people that are using AI in my vicinity. Usually it's developers, they send me a game and it's like, I can't wait for you to cover this. And I'm like, I'm literally never going to cover your game. I don't know what you expected here. And I always get some kind of like weird response like, oh, boo-hoo me. And it's like, nope. My channel is very much like, do not send me these games. Why would you bother? And they always try and like weasel into being the exception somehow. And that, it frustrates me. Okay, question. Can I make the iridium rods here? Yeah, cool. All right. Well, I think at this point I've gone on long enough. I meant to stop, but we got on a track. We still have whatever's left in that one city, which is probably not going to take too long. And then if there's any other like small points of interest in this map that I cannot see here, the thing is most of them are kind of nothing. That, you know, just a couple of resources and not even lore. So easy enough for me to just probably not do them. So finish up the city and then move on to Waterworld, probably.